Hello there. Oh, hear me out. It's a beautiful one. Just wait a minute. This is a story about how I learned a language with an interesting boy. This dates back to 2019. I came to Kazakhstan May 2019, and a few weeks after, I mean, 2 weeks after, then arrived this young boy. I think I was 25 at this point, and this boy was, let's say, 19 years of age. He came to Kazakhstan and we happened to live together. He's an amazing boy. He had all this weirdness, but in a good way. He was funny, and I think he's still funny. He's extremely funny, amazing guy. Loved life. Let me trust you. He loves to live life, always making us laugh, and we both lived together in the same apartment at the time. Now, because of my program, I came for a master's program, and this young boy came for a bachelor's program. He was about to start university basically. He had spent some time in Nigeria, after writing jam, trying to secure admission. I think he had already started university in Nigeria, but abroad calls. So his siblings decided to send him abroad to Kazakhstan to study. Now, he came, and because of Kazakh universities require you learn at least A2 level of Russian before you join university. We had to join an intensive, I think it's 36 hours. I remember it was 3 months of Russian lessons in the university. So fortunately and unfortunately, I would let you know the reason why it's unfortunately later. Fortunately and unfortunately, we were grouped together and we learned together. I believe we were about five Nigerians back then in this university, in this language learning course. We started as usual, and I think I have a gift for language learning. I'll just put it that way, because because I had my goals also. So after learning, I would go home, spend extra hours learning Russian language on YouTube. I would study post lesson and do crazy things, just practice, make sure I improved enough, well enough before we resumed in September. Remember, I arrived in May, and that was it. So throughout summer we would go practice, practice, and practice. Now, this is the problem. We are in the same group with this young boy, and we expect him to learn faster, to learn easier, and to improve. But to our surprise, especially to my surprise, he for 3 4 weeks he couldn't get back past Russian alphabet. He just couldn't get past it. And for somebody like me, well, I am so much. I think I have changed. Back then, I was frustrated. Like, why? Because we had this teacher that she wanted, or she was really interested in carrying everybody along. So if one of you lags behind, she goes back and tries to teach. So for 3 weeks, we were still dealing with Russian alphabet and pronouns. And I was already mad because on my YouTube channel, I was done with alphabet. I was done with pronouns. I was even learning cases. If you're a Russian speaker, at this time I had started learning yeah, jivu, like you, yes, like cases okay, in English language. English speakers should understand when you're learning the first person, second person, third person pronoun, and possessive. Sorry, first person pronoun, second person pronoun, possessive adjective, and possessive pronouns. So imagine that level of Russian. I was already there, and these guys still pushing us back to learning Russian alphabet. It got to a point after like 3 or 4 months. I remember this teacher coming to class and teaching us Russian, teaching us a song to help us understand Russian alphabet. I was mad, and I discovered that us living together became tense. It was extremely tense. I just didn't like his attitude. And because we lived together, I was able to discover that he wasn't even studying. He wasn't trying hard. He was this kind of guy that didn't like studying at home. Once he got home, he was always playing music, chatting with, yeah, I knew at the time girls, and totally unserious from my own perspective. Extremely unserious. And I was mad. I would get mad at him, tell him, and remember the age difference. I was 6 years older, right? So I was old enough to be his elder brother or older brother because we're not family. I would always shout, you know, focus on your studies. Why are you playing? You're not here to play. You're not here to joke. I am 25 and I am more serious than you are. This created a tension between us, and basically, we just didn't do well together. But this is not just that. We had some moral values that are totally different. Yeah, moral values extremely different. And at the end of the day, I think back by September, he was able to live with us for, let's say, 6 months or 1 month, 1 year maximum. I've forgotten. After this, he just moved out. He moved out, he got a friend, and he decided to live with this native friend. And what happens? And that's the end. So we would just, and since I was a master's student, he was a bachelor's degree, so we didn't cross path at all. I was done with masters. I did my 1 year. Then pandemic came in 2020, 21, right? Pandemic came, so we did not even cross path at all. Pandemic came, left, and back in 2023, we met again. We got it. We met. I think I was at a place to renew my passport, and we met there. Then, to my surprise, his Russian was better than mine. He spoke clean Russian. My Russian has mistakes, has grammatical mistakes. I was able to. This guy spoke clean Russian, and I don't want to give excuses. By excuses I mean if you've watched some of my videos, you will discover that during a pandemic or mid-pandemic, I changed my mind not to stay in Kazakhstan because I wanted to leave, and I stopped learning. But that's not even the excuse. I think I stopped learning for about 6 or 8 months, but still, the difference I saw was not the difference of 8 months. This was a difference of like it was a lifetime of a difference. This guy spoke like a native, and he could also speak. Till now, he speaks Kazakh. So he speaks Russian and Kazakh in the space of 2 or 3 years, 2019, 2021, 22. In the space of 3 years, this guy speaks clean Russian and Kazakh. Now, that brings me to my language learning lesson. One thing I have discovered is that over the course of these 3 to 4 years, he was always out in the street. He has a lot of native friends. All his friends are natives. So he learned Russian from via trial and error. He even has the accent. He speaks with the accent. That's the funny thing. So he was able to learn with experience. While I was busy learning on YouTube, learning writing, reading, he was out there thrown in the wild and learning his language. And sincerely, I appreciate that method because to me, he seems that like as to me, he seems to me like somebody that would never see that. What am I even saying? I'm not even sure he finished his bachelor's program. Not sure. But he's doing well, which I am really proud of. He is doing extremely well. I'm not sure he finished his bachelor's program, but you get what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that um, there are two different ways, and our lives has shown that there are different ways by which you can learn a language and you can still be successful. I learned via Duolingo, apps and the likes, and this boy learned right there in the street, mingling with native speakers and just learning by repetition, making mistakes, and he did that exceptionally well. Now, what do I say? Is there a better way? If I had the choice, I'm not the kind of person that makes friends. Let's just put it that way. So I wouldn't choose to go out in the street. Yeah, that's one thing. But if I were to choose between spending hours learning or doing something, a very effective way, I would go for mingling with native speakers. Practice with native speakers. That's a very good way. Practice with native speakers, and before you know it, you are doing so well. So, if you're learning a language, I would advise to get a friend speaking the language you're learning. It's a very good way because even without you learning, you're learning. If you live with them, if you squat with them, even without you learning, they're saying things you've never realized. You never, the slangs, the jargons. You are inculcating these words without even knowing it. So I am jealous of that system, and I really love it. And if you're interested in learning the language, uh, try to use that. I would say you have a boyfriend or girlfriend speaking the language you want to learn. I'm not saying you should now start searching for people. Have a friend, have a partner, have people around you speaking that language you want to learn, and you will be surprised at how amazing or how fast you get to learn that. Now, I'm not saying that that is the only way. I'm just saying it's an effective way. I really love it. So that's that about this story. It's just a short story about language learning. If you want to watch more of my videos, please check them out. They are here. Thanks and thanks a lot. See you in my next video. Have an amazing day. Goodbye.